Here are 15 simple chess tricks guaranteed to improve your elo. It starts off with attacking the f7 square. Before I show you this trick and the rest of them, please comment your favorite opening and I'll try to learn it and make a video on it. And please like the video, it helps so much with the YouTube algorithm. This is the weakest square on the board because it's only protected by the king, and the king is the most vulnerable piece that you need to attack. We're going to start off with an easy opening. Your opponent's just playing super bad moves. You immediately attack this f7 square, and you just develop all your pieces to attack this. You can do this by pushing your pawn forwards and developing your queen and bishop. You can also do this with your knight. If you put your knight here and your knight on this square, it will be able to attack the f7 square very early. We'll say they just play some really dumb moves, like very bad moves. Something like this, you are attacking them with two attackers, and now if they play something like this, you have checkmate, and you're already winning the game if they're really, really bad at the game. So let's say they're not that bad at the game, and you need to start with a good opening, with the E pawn or the D pawn, and learning an opening. We'll say they go here, you go here, you'll play the D pawn forwards. You don't have to do both of them, you can do one of them. I don't really know many openings, but I know how to control the center, and I know a lot of principles, so I don't need to learn that much theory. I can just learn chess and do a lot of puzzles. So trick number 3 is going to be gambit openings. There's so many gambits you can try, but a gambit essentially is giving up material so you can have a lead in development. So you can see that you have a pawn and a bishop forwards, and after this queen goes here, your knight is actually going to be able to come to this square, and the queen's going to have to move. So you'll have your knight developed and your bishop developed, and your king kind of gets to safety over here. However, it is a little bit scary in this kind of opening. This is the king's gambit, but there's a lot of other gambits. Stafford gambit, so many gambits. I can't even list them all right now. There's so many of them. Number 4 is develop pieces towards the center. So we need to develop our pieces towards the center, not the pawns. The pawns are not pieces. The pieces are the bishop, the knight, and the major pieces are the rook and the queen. The queen is the best, the rook is a little bit worse, and the bishops and knights are pieces. So you're developing them towards the center. Immediately, you have a choice. Your knight can go towards the side, which is in red, or the middle, which is in green. Obviously, you want to put your knight towards the middle, and you get to attack this pawn very early. Let's say he just defends it. Now, you need to develop your bishop. You could also develop this knight if you'd like to. That's not a bad move. But this may look like the center. However, it is not a good move because this pawn doesn't get to go forwards, and your other bishop is kind of sad because he's never going to be able to leave unless you go this way, which can get defended, and it'll take a long time for you to ever actually use that bishop. So that is a bad move, and instead you want to play it towards the center more. And yeah, put your pieces towards the center. Don't put your knights on the edge. You can develop it this way, but only sometimes. If it's like super defended, I wouldn't do it. So if you're playing a closed position, that's really fine, but this is a very open game. You kind of want to throw your d4 pawn at them. And our next one is the last one for openings, and it's going to be offbeat openings. This is one of my favorite things, playing an opening that they wouldn't expect because they don't know what to play against it. This isn't a normal opening. It's actually better for black in this position, almost about a point, but you can castle, and black's just playing very obvious moves, putting their bishops out, and you're putting d4 pawn, they're not going to know what to do. Honestly, in this position, it's not that bad. It's about equal. So this bishop out move is actually very bad because it allows you to push this pawn that you really want to. However, you need to consider that this is a very risky play, putting a very close position because you can obviously give away a piece and lose your game very quickly. So next up is going to be middle game. So we're going to go to the start of our game, and the first one is control the center of the board. I kind of went over this in the in the openings, but you want to control the center of the board. Black is a little bit, but the more you control in the center, the better you are technically doing. And yeah, this is a very normal Caro-Kann opening, but White has a lot more control of the center in this position than black does. He just has the pawns, you have the queen, you have the knight, and you're going to do a little bit better than black in this position. However, it's hard to tell until you get later into the game. Next is trick number 7, avoiding unnecessary pawn moves, or trading without good reason. Trading pieces is very important in chess. However, if you do it how they want to, it could be very bad. So this is pushing your pawns without necessarily needing to. You're just pushing all your pawns and you're giving black time to do whatever they want, which is develop their pieces and maybe even set up attacks or traps for you to fall to. So if you just keep on pushing your pawns, they have time to develop their pieces, and you already have a very bad position, and you've just played 4 moves. So we'll say now, the second part of this, the second part of this trick was trading without good reason. So this bishop wants to trade for this knight, and it's possible. Black will totally let you do it. However, you just let black push this pawn, put the bishop out, and when you finally take, he takes back with a knight, and he looks completely fine. His position's very good. By the time you bring your knight out, he's already castled. He has his knight and bishop on this square. He's about to take your pawn, and you're not going to do too well in this. So the next trick is put rooks on open files. So this is the normal Ruy Lopez, and you're just going to play a very common move, which is castling here, and it looks like you're giving away this pawn for free. However, you get to open your rook onto this open file, and this knight has to run away. The best square is to go there. You take here, you take with rook, they'll block, and you're in a very good position because your rook is just killing. You are attacked here, but you can just run away, or you can even leave it because it is defended by the rook. However, that would put it on a very weird square, so I wouldn't suggest that. Next one is don't give your pieces away. So you're just playing a normal opening, and you don't realize that this pawn is actually defended. If you're very low rated, that might happen, and you might just decide to take it. You might give your pieces away in so many different ways. In chess, there's so many different ways you could give your pieces away. I'm not going to go over many of them. I'm just going to go over giving it away for free immediately. But learn tactics, do puzzles on how to get other people's pieces, because then you won't give it away yourself. And that's very important, because if you give away a piece, you can immediately lose very badly. Next one is going to be for developing your bishops and knights. You need to develop your bishops and knights and to good squares like I was talking about earlier, but you normally want to develop your bishop or your knights first, then develop your bishops. And I was just playing the best moves in this position, which don't really show you much, but you do want to develop your knights first, then your bishops, and yeah, so bishop here is honestly normally a terrible move. However, it is defending this pawn, so it's no longer getting taken. And in the next one, we're going to look at endgames, and the first endgame one is going to be push past pawns. In this position, you don't want to look at your most powerful piece to be like, oh, I want to use my most powerful piece because it's the best piece on the board for me. No, you want to look at this pawn because of the potential it has of being a queen. The best move is to go pawn forwards. You don't want to try to push, get taken, take, and then lose it, right? Because that looks terrible. You don't want to push here because that literally does nothing. You want to push here. And no matter what he does, knight d5 is the best move. You can go again, or you don't have to, but you can. Knight c7 works, and now you run your king over, and you end up promoting. And if he wants to run his king over, all you have to do is push these pawns, and you promote. So that's pushing past pawns. Even during the middle game, you can also push past pawns, but it's very important during the end game. And this is, so master basic checkmates. Any checkmates, I have videos on them. There's rook, just one rook against the king. There's queen against the king. There's 2 bishops. There's 2 rooks. And you want to get really good at these and really fast at all of these. And the next one is going to be activate your king. In this position, there's one very good move. If you can find it, that would be insane because this is a very hard move, and I don't think I'd see it. The move is knight takes c5. The only amazing winning move, pawn takes back, you push your pawn, and if you don't push that pawn, the bishop would come back and stop you. So the bishop comes here, try and taking your pawn, but you keep on going forwards. The king tries running to defend you, but you go king b3. You could, so this is also activating your king because you need to play king b3 here. If you play anything but a king move, you actually lose. This is a draw, so it's technically not losing, but you are completely drawing. And if you play queen here, the bishop takes, you are actually completely losing. So you need to activate your king on most endgames, pretty much every single endgame, unless you think you're going to get checkmated in the middle of the board. But that normally happens when there's like a lot of pieces. If there's like a rook and 2 extra pieces, then I'd be a little bit scared of not bringing your king out into the middle of the board because you might get checkmated, or you might get checked everywhere and get put somewhere you don't want to be. Next is going to be find and use pawn majority. In this position, you have 3 pawns here, 2 pawns here. Black has 3 pawns here and 1 pawn here. It's very important to see that these pawns can break through this, and these pawns might be able to break through this, but it would take a lot longer and be a lot harder. So the best move actually is king to c2. Very interesting. We'll play b5 for black, and now c takes b5, and you're just completely winning because you have 3 on 2. But you do want to play on this side more than not, and you want to go this way. And this is what I would play, honestly. Probably take, because it's a free pawn. I don't know why Stockfish is doing these terrible moves. This computer is actually terrible. King f7 is good. You just run up and you defend your pawns, and you have a pawn majority. You focus on the side of where you have more pawns than your opponent. That is what I'm trying to tell you here, and this computer just sucks for some reason. So the last one is going to be fewer pieces equals less room for error. Let's say black gives you the rook, but you're very low on time. You're playing a bullet game, right? Their king comes, they go here, you go here. You want to not lose, right? So if you lose on time here, it would be a draw. No. If you lose on time here, it would be a loss. But if you take both of these pawns, if both of these black pawns are gone, and you lose on time, it's actually a draw. So it's timeout versus insignificant material, and if you can take both these pawns, you're not actually completely losing. So that is better than losing sometimes. If you're really low on time and they have a lot of time, sometimes it's better just to try and get the draw. Even if you're completely winning with 2 pieces more than he has, if you can take these pawns, it's worth it. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, you want to take these pawns. If they have a knight left, it's also insignificant material if they only have a knight, or if they only have a bishop. But if they have a rook and you lose on time, they win the game because they have enough material to beat you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.